If you look back at the Erie Otters, a Canadian junior team in the Ontario Hockey League, from the 2012 season onwards, you wouldn't be surprised that many of those players skate in this game here tonight. That's thanks in part to Oilers head coach Kris Knoblauch.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to have some really good hockey players when I was there, and it seems like a lot of them wound up in Tampa's organization. You know, I'm so happy for all those guys because they were model teammates, worked very hard at their game, very coachable.
After joining the Otters during a losing year in the 2012-13 campaign, Knoblauch finished each of his final 4 seasons with 50-plus wins in a 68-game schedule. Along the way, he coached current Oilers Connor Brown and Connor McDavid, and plenty more. His best season, though, was arguably his final one in 2016-17. Erie was helped by the likes of Anthony Cirelli, Eric Chernak, and the Radish brothers. Cirelli felt comfortable with Knoblauch right away after being traded by the Oshawa Generals.
I went to World Juniors that year too, so some familiarity going to Erie, and he made a smooth transition for me and easy to talk to about the game, about anything.
What about an entirely different set of circumstances? Eric Chernak played his first North American hockey in the OHL.
The rink is way smaller. It's more physical. You don't have a lot of time for making the plays, and another thing is the lifestyle is totally different. So I was lucky enough to have Kris Knoblauch, my first coach over here. He was super patient with me. He taught me a lot.
Chernak became a Bolt during his second and final junior season.
Yeah, I remember we played in Alvin Town. After the game, I got a call from Rob Blake from LA. He told me I got traded to Tampa. And of course, I knew Tony, who was drafted by Tampa. Back then, Taylor Reddy was drafted by Tampa, so I went back to the bus, and I told the guys, they couldn't believe me.
Knoblauch got a call from a former Lightning GM.
Talking to Steve Yzerman, he was obviously doing his homework on this player and wondering what I thought of him. And then I think about 3 days later, that trade did happen. So I remember, obviously, before the trade happened, they were very interested.
Then comes Darren Radish. Like Chernak, he did not start out with Tampa Bay, but he was undrafted. His head coach never doubted him.
I had so much respect for him. I always felt like he could be an NHL player in junior. Like what he did in his last year junior is very rarely done by a defenseman. He was defenseman of the year. He had most points. His plus minus was incredible. He was our number 1 defenseman, about 5 years in junior and then another 2 in the American League. That one probably most special for me to see have success because he took the long path to get to the NHL. And, I always thought very highly of him right from when he was a 16-year-old.
Darren Radish has been with Knoblauch through most of his coaching career.
Yeah, when he first came in, he was maybe a little bit shy, and I think in Erie, he kind of, became his own and kind of grew with the team, and we were a pretty successful team, and he has a big part of that. And going into my last year there, he kind of said to me, it's kind of like your draft year again. You can show scouts and show people what you can do, and we had a pretty successful season, and we ultimately won the OHL there.
So here we are, 8 years later. A handful of Erie Otters swam their way to Tampa Bay. You could say it's all thanks to Kris Knoblauch. For the Lightning Audio Network, I'm Jared Johnston.